round 14 of 2024 Supercross, and it's been an up and down season for you. It almost feels like whenever you have a flash of potential or start making progress, something stops it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot has to do, I would say, we'll have some flashes, then we get next weekend it's raining, or, we have a bad start and things like that. But I honestly feel like for me, also with the team, we're making a lot of gains in our own little weird way. But I'm excited, man, to keep coming to every single race, every weekend. And I learned something, right? Sometimes the results isn't the way that we want it to, or things kind of happen, but I feel like everything that we've done take in, kind of like the R&D development with the bike, myself, and the whole team, we're making steps forward, right? So it's definitely hard, because I was just, explaining to somebody that I'm like, we test during the week, and then we're like, all right, great, and then we come to a race and it's supposed to rain, and we're like, did it work, right? You know what I mean? So we'll try it next week. So, but it's part of it, I think a lot has to do with just, getting off the gate and starting with those guys. It's hard to come from the back, especially the way the field is right now. Each and every year, it keeps getting more and more stacked.
Yeah, I've been meaning to actually ask a rider that. You spend all winter training on hard tracks. We haven't had really one of those this year, aside from a couple. So is all of the work that you did in the winter just irrelevant?
I mean, I would say I don't think anybody practices in mud. I can promise you that. And we've had some really, really, really tough races. I mean, dude, it feels like outdoor national out there, right? Like, it's been ruddy, deep, and again, it's part of racing. When we have, I've raced, since 2011, my pro career, I haven't had this many rain races or potential mud races in my whole career. But at the same time, it's something I'm not only one that got to deal with it, right? Everybody else has to deal with it. So what makes it more challenging is the amount of group and how many great athletes that we have in a 450 class, and it just makes racing tough. And I enjoy it. And I'm just glad to be, part of that group.
How has it been adjusting your own expectations this year? Because in 2022, top 5 was normal. Finishing 5th was almost a disappointment for you. Whereas this year, 7th has been kind of your best, or at least on paper. So how has it been accepting that?
You can't accept that. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it stings. It stings bad, but we got 4 races to go. We got to get up there. We're obviously 100% podium win, condition to do it. It's just a matter of time whenever we're going to be able to get it done, and we got to start up there. We've been working on our starts, been trying everything we can to get up there. And again, I feel like there's a lot of confidence behind it too, and believing in all that. And we've had a lot of great races, but we had bad starts, and then we were like ride my butt off to get 7th place. And it's like, oh yeah, you're up there, but you wasn't up there, right? So it's just a matter of time, and we got to keep the same mindset, right? And the team's learning, and we're all pushing hard, and we're going to get there.
So what happened in the Arlington heat race? How did the very, very, very best Mookie come back for that one race?
The start. I think the start actually helped out a lot. A lot less, not that much traffic, right? And we try to say, I mean, honestly, I felt good. I felt great. I rode good even in the main event. Even when I had that crash, I got up, I charged, and there's been a lot of like that this year, unfortunately, in wrong place, wrong time, this and that. But I done ran out of excuses at this point. We just got to go out there and get it done.
Are you excited for outdoors and SMX as sort of a fresh start?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when you miss a whole year of racing, like it kills it. It kills you for sure. Watching everybody else, not only just like even if they're out there and they're not doing that well, it's gate drops, right? Like everything that you need as a rider to stay relevant and stay in the race pace. So I feel like for sure, like missing a year off of racing kind of hurt me. I know that for sure, and a lot has to do with just like racecraft and things like that. When you kind of lose a little bit, it's hard to kind of get that back, but. Yeah, I mean, outdoors, we haven't really rode too much of it. We had a few days that we were able to do it. It's been raining a little bit in Florida, but a few days that we were able to kind of get it done. And it's going to be exciting to do the SMX. I haven't done it. It's new to me. So, as I'm going to say it again, I'm just glad to be back racing.
Last question, a little deep. Do you still believe that your best is yet to come?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, you said without hesitation as well?
No, because I honestly feel I have a lot less than a tank, and you're going to see the best tomorrow.
First of all, I feel like this is maybe a bit quick. Is this right on schedule, or are you maybe back a little bit sooner than you expected?
I would say this is probably pretty good on schedule. So got hurt at Daytona, broke the scapula in 3 places, last lap in the main. So that was frustrating, had a solid top 10 there. And honestly, it's been a while since I broke a bone like that. Usually I kind of knock on wood, it's ligament stuff, you know. And so I broke a bone, and it's just your typical like 4 to 6 weeks. So by 4 weeks, for the first like 2 or 3 weeks, I wasn't making very good gains, and I was like, oh man. But then just like this 1 week, it just magically got better. It was crazy. It just feel like it healed a lot. So I rode like a week and a half, and here we are. So
Let's put it this way: if this wasn't your last full season of Supercross, would you be back at this point?
probably, because honestly, like my shoulder feels pretty good, and I don't know. I've never really been the one to try and milk, you know, the season or whatever, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought, you know, I'm here at Nashville, but what a terrible round to come back to. You know what I mean? I would hate to come back to Nashville.
Well, if you were still hurt, you could have gone out tomorrow night. So there is that.
Well, we're still going to do that.
Okay, we got that dialed at least.
We're still going to do that. It's the farewell tour, you know what I mean? Like, we got to go check out the sites and see what's going on.
Give the people what they want?
Yeah, we got to go check it out, because, you know, last year we went out after the race, and guess who I hung out with all night?
MC.
Yep. The king. And that's my childhood hero.
And Lewis for like 2 minutes, if I remember right. So.
And I was like, oh, that's right, because we ran into you. And, you know, I asked him every question. It was sick. So it was pretty cool.
How long have you been back on the bike for?
So I've been back on the bike for about a week and a half. So, yeah, I've done a couple trips up to Tally, rode with Max. And first time I went out there and rode, shoulder felt pretty weak, but I was still able to get around a bit. And then this past week, I made another gain of strength, and you know, just it feels a bit stronger. So yeah, been about a week and a half. Yeah, and here we are. And the thing is too, I want to get these SMX points. You know, I feel like I'm not doing any outdoors, and it's gonna get really tight for me at the end. I think I'll probably be in the LCQ no matter what, but maybe not. But I just want to at least be in the LCQ too, you know what I mean? Because I want to get, if that's what I have to do to race the SMX, you know? I just want to have enough points.
I'm sure we've talked about this, but if it is close, there's no way you do an outdoor.
Probably not. It's a lot of organizing, you know?
Effort.
And it's just getting a bike, and yeah, I don't know. Probably not.
4 races to go in Supercross. Are you emotional at all? Does it feel special, different, like walking in the paddock today? Did it feel different?
I mean, yeah, I'm just like so excited to be back racing, and like the thing is like I've told people, like I'm not retiring. Like this isn't a retirement. It's just a farewell tour of doing the full AMA. Like I'm not going to race full time anymore. So I'd like to still do some races, but I just don't want to go full time. I think a lot of you have seen my knee. It's in some state, and I've had an awesome run. But I love racing. I love waking up and having that drive, and I love training. So I'd like to try and make something work next year, but we're still got to figure out some things.
Big week, obviously. Not so big for you emotionally, I would imagine, because you came to terms with this a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But has it still caught you by surprise just how big a deal this is?
As far as me leaving, or
just the response, the respect?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's... I'm actually kind of overwhelmed by it, to be honest. Like, you don't really realize, you know, how many people actually cared or whatever. So it's, for me, it's pretty cool. And like I said, I'm not an emotional guy, but that does touch me a little bit, you know. So a lot of people cared, and yeah, it's a long journey to get to this point. You always wish of that as a kid, and to finally get there and then finally realize it. The response is, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Has it ever like irked you that your off-track personality overshadows your results a little bit?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because I have had really good results in my career, you know what I mean? And I was a top 10 450 guy for a long time, and outdoors and stuff. So some of that off-track stuff kind of overshadows it, but at the same time, you got to have the best of both worlds and stuff. So to be able to say I kind of have both is pretty unique. So I'm not strictly just a racer, but also a pretty good bullshitter too, I guess. So it's yeah, it's kind of surreal.
When you work with the Futures kids and try to guide them a little bit, do you try to tell them that having this off-track stuff does help?
Yeah, yes, it's it's hard now because the social interaction now that I feel like kids get nowadays, from when I was growing up, they don't really talk to as many people as what they used to, or have to talk to sponsors or whatever. It's all through an email or a text message or a direct message, you know what I mean? Like, I remember the days that my dad used to make me call people, sponsors from a landline, and I used to shit bricks doing it. So there's a little bit of sense of social awkwardness now, I guess you could say, with kids when it comes to face-to-face interaction. But yeah, I tell them, don't be afraid to be who you actually are just because there's a fucking camera, So, and like I said, I told Darkside in an interview one time, it was me being the way I was when I was a kid was resented by a lot of people in the paddock too, until I finally cut my teeth in the pavement. So it took a lot of years, but finally fucking got there.
When you said you first thought about this or made the decision at Anaheim 1, in the weeks after A1, did you question it at all? Was there a time where you went back and forth?
There is, because it's hard to really. It's just during the weeks are really hard. Like my team, and they see it on practice days where I don't have it or I don't feel good. I do put in my laps, but I don't really try. It's not that I don't want to try. It's just I'm not willing to risk it for that little bit on a Tuesday. And I used to always care about it. I used to be very fiery during the weeks and pissed, and it just kind of went away. And like I said, it's not that I don't care. I limit the risk a lot now more during a week. So I just knew then it was like, eh. But then there are some days like this week on Tuesday and Wednesday, I had really good days riding, and I'm like, fuck, that feels really good. And it's just like, man, is it time? But it's time, because those days are far and few between.
There's also an element of you knowing that you don't need to push the extra 1% on a Tuesday, right? Like, that is going to make no difference at all come Saturday.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I realize that what happens on a Tuesday doesn't affect the Saturday, and Saturday's the only day that pays. So that kind of gets lost in translation nowadays with riding and training, especially with the younger kids. They think practice lap time is going to make or break their future or their race on Saturday, which it doesn't make a hell of a beans difference. So for me, realizing that as well, I know on Saturday nights I still have the game time personality. So saying that, me and the boys always say, the gate drops, the bullshit stops. So we're here for Nashville. We got a shootout, fucking banger weekend coming up. So it's a lot to take in, but I'm excited.
Last one, there's a lot of racing to go before you hang it up.
Yeah.
What are your expectations come outdoors? Because you can do really well there.
Yeah, obviously last year I was, 7th to 12th place guy outdoors, and that was coming back after my wrist injury, and that was a really big deficit I climbed myself out of mid-season to come back to do that. But this year I'm obviously a lot more race fit. I haven't stopped since High Point last year, between all of outdoors, all of SMX, all of WSX, and I went straight into A1, and now I'm going to go straight into outdoors. So I really haven't much time, but I have a really big base built up, and I'm looking forward to grinding in the outdoors. So and I'm looking forward to putting in a good summer and really emptying the tank.
It's been a solid rookie season for you so far, and now we're coming into the East-West Showdown, where obviously it's going to be harder. So how do your expectations change, and how do you manage that extra bit of pressure?
I think same expectations. I've been riding good, but I definitely feel like these last 3 weeks have been a big step in the right direction. So expectations are the same. Get off to a good start and give it 100% for 15+1.
If you look at a lot of rookies, including yourself, a lot of times the very first race is the best one, or at least close to that. Is there anything to that you can think of, and putting it to your own experience?
I think maybe just the nerves take over, I think maybe. First race, you're not really thinking much. So I think just you don't really think about anything, whereas the next races you're a little more, you've been through it once, you know a little more. So I think maybe almost not worrying about where you finished in the first race, and more so just riding, where now it's more, we need to fix this, that. So trying to fix things, I think, has been a holdback to trying to fix things with my riding, try different things. So I think that's probably a big thing as to why the first round's been the best.
Yeah, I guess going into round one, everything's great, or at least you think everything's great.
Yeah.
So there's no room to start guessing, and then when you start guessing, that's when it all starts to fall apart a little.
That's when it falls apart, and obviously we had A1 and then 2 mudders, so wasn't the ideal first 3 rounds. So, but I think I've got it back under control the last couple weeks, and I definitely had a good 3 weeks, so I'm happy.
And finally, how's your outdoor prep been going? I feel
Good.
like you're underrated outdoors. You can actually do quite well there as well.
Yeah, I think so. I did 4 days on outdoors and then back to Supercross, but I'll get back on outdoors right after this weekend. So, no, it's been nice getting a change up. Obviously, we've been on Supercross for the last 4 or 5 months, so going back to outdoors and changing it up the last 3 weeks has been fun.
First of all, I'm surprised to see you here. I would imagine that you would quite like a weekend off, considering your situation. So why have you ended up in Nashville?
This is my people, man. This is my kind of race, and we're here. We're supporting the boys, and yeah, we're gonna help out as much as we can around the truck, and then I think I'm gonna be behind the booth tomorrow, so maybe for the 250 main, and if they like me, they'll keep me for the 450s, but I might steal some jobs, you know. I might steal some jobs up here.
Are you in pain? Like, how is the pain situation after your crash?
Pain, not so much. You know, I can kind of move it around, but there is a point where it is like, okay, I'm done now. But the past couple days have been pretty rough. It's been swollen. Like I was telling somebody this first day, you can actually see my knuckles. So it was really, really swollen, really bruised, and I've just been kind of taking it easy and just lifting it and, I don't know, doing what I can with it. So pain is, I mean, I would say a 1, but I also rode with the thing at Foxborough. So yeah, that was when it was in pain. I was about an 8, 9.
I'm surprised you don't need surgery. Is that rare or is that quite normal with this injury?
I don't know. I mean, they could go in and screw the bone back in, but the guy said that he's not worried about it moving. You know, the muscle can have it in place or keep it in place. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it is rare or not, but he said the muscle will keep it in place, so I'm not really worried about it.
Talk me through the crash. And as soon as you got up, did you know that you were done, or was there some hope?
Yeah, I mean, the crash was weird. We came around that right hand. It was like almost a U-turn, and I rolled it to the left, and I jumped it to the right, and I think I hit a rut, and it kind of pushed me over to the right a little bit. But
so we blame Chase?
No.
Do we need to get him in here?
No, definitely not.
Is that why KTM has 2 trucks?
Yeah, we're duking it out. No, definitely not. Definitely not Chase's fault. He was all the way on the other side of the track, so it was just a point where I was going straight, and a rut was like kind of hooking left, and I hit the rut straight on, and it kind of tossed me to the right, and I don't know, the hay bale was in just a weird place. So yeah, I landed my front wheel on it, hyperextended my elbow, and the doctor said it wanted to dislocate, but when the bones hit each other, it came like it stopped it from going out of place, but in result of the bones hitting each other, chipped that bone, the ulna bone, and ended up breaking that bone. So I think in my situation it could be a whole lot worse. It could have came out of place, tore every ligament in there, and I would be out for 6 to 8 months. So in this situation, best case scenario, and hopefully, we'll be back riding in a couple weeks.
Last question. My main thing with this is I do not want the injury to detract from what a great year it's been for you. Obviously, recency bias. You could look at you missing the last 4 rounds and say, oh, it was a bust.
Nah.
But people need to remember that this has been an incredible step forward.
Yeah, man, it was such a good season, dude, and it started off so hot. It started off like I was going to win the championship, and I made a really, really good push, and it was just so much fun. It still doesn't really feel like I was working. I mean, obviously the races were hard. Winning was not easy, and keeping the points lead was not easy, and it was just it was easy hard, you know what I mean? Because I was having so much fun. It didn't feel like work. It didn't feel like such a grind, and I was able to kind of keep that momentum going. And yeah, I mean, I had a few mistakes here and there, which kind of took me out of the running, but in that, you know, I learned so much, and just having so much fun, and just riding my bike, and it was getting better each weekend, and that's more so what I'm bummed about is I don't get to ride my Supercross setup anymore. It was so good, and it was getting better each week, and yeah, it's just unfortunate thing, but you can't really, yeah, I mean, you can't really look back and be sad with the results that I've had this year.